Hey there, I'm Leonard. I'm student number 3345462, and this is my AVMA task video for Laboratory Animal Clinical Management, VTHT 2213-31420. Alright, so I've got two rats here with me today. This is just the cage that their owner brought them in for traveling. They do not live in a container like this at home. So rats are nocturnal and they sleep most of the day. We do know that they can squeal and squeak, however they can also vocalize at a frequency much higher than humans can hear. Rats are omnivores, and so they do occasionally have cannibalistic tendencies, and they will eat their young that are not thriving in order for the mom to have energy to take care of the young that are thriving. They will also eat commercial rodent chow in pellet or black form. They should eat a diet of 5 to 6 grams per 100 grams of body weight per day, and that's the total amount. You want to feed them once to twice daily, as ad libitum feeding can lead to obesity. Let's see, so fresh potable water should be offered to your rats at all times, ad libitum. They'll take water out of watering bottles that you can attach to their cage. They'll also drink out of automated watering systems. The average water consumption for a rat is 10 to 12 milliliters per 100 grams of body weight per day. Rats are most commonly housed in plastic shoebox style houses or cages. You want to make sure you have some bedding in the bottom of the floor. You can use something like paper scraps, something that they can burrow in. They do love to burrow. You just want to make sure you do not use any cedar chips or cedar pellets, as that can be toxic to them. It can affect with their physiologic standards. Let's see, rats are social creatures, so they do like to live in pairs or in small groups. And they do prefer enrichment items. So they like items that they can manually manipulate. So a tissue they can rip apart, or something they can gnaw on, like a nylabone. They also enjoy having tunnels in their cages or little shelves to climb on, and they like to have little huts that they can hide in and push around their cage as well. So we know that a rat is a rat because they have conical heads, so a cone-shaped head. They have cylindrical bodies, and they have short legs. They also have short, thick fur throughout the entire body, except for their tail, which is sparsely haired, and their tail is about 85% of the length of their body. So there's a couple different ways you can pick up a rat. So you can pick them up by grabbing them at the base of their tail. You never want to pick them up at the tip or the middle of their tail, as you can deglove them. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up Blizzard here. Hey, buddy. I've got him. Just like that. You can support the front half with your other hand. Alright, you can also restrain a rat by putting their head between your index and your middle finger, and then you're using your thumb and your ring fingers around their thorax, and you can support their bottom half with your opposite hand. You can also go ahead and put your thumb and your index finger underneath of their elbows, supporting their back, crisscrossing their arms in the front, and supporting their bottom half. Okay, buddy. And then one final restraint move you can use is you can scruff your rat, just like a cat. It's okay, buddy. So there we go, and you can support their bottom half if necessary. So when you want to sex a rat, a neonate rat, it's a little bit more difficult than adults. So you're going to check the distance between the genital papilla and the anogenital region. So if the distance between the genital papilla, if the genital papilla is large and the distance between the genital papilla and the anus is a greater distance, and it's going to be a male. If it's a smaller distance, it's a female. It's a little bit easier to sex mature rats because around 15 days of age, the males are going to drop their testes, and at that point, you'll be able to see those, and it's a little bit easier to tell the females from the males. So we're going to go ahead and sex Blizzard here. So I'm going to go scrub him and lift him up. And we can see he's got those testes right there, so we know that he is a male. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and administer our injections now. So Cambry is going to just restrain Blizzard for me, and I'm going to start with his sub-Q injection. So I've got 0.1 ml of saline drawn up into my syringe, and I'm just going to lift his scruff right here. Oh, it's okay, baby. Would you come around this way? That way, right. Hey. Hey. It's okay.
I'm gonna put some gloves.
Are you good? Let's go real quick.
I want to attach the refrigerator upstairs.
Alright, I'm just going to lift up the skin, inject a little, put my needle in. Oh, he's got thick skin. Pull back to make sure I don't get any blood, and inject. Good job, buddy. It's okay. Alright. And they'll break. It's okay. It's alright. Alright. Oh, I need a little bit more saline for my IP injection. One quick second. I'm going to pull that up. So I'm going to get 0.1 ml of saline for that IP injection. Alright, and I'm going to go in his bottom quadrant, and I'm going to insert my needle, pull back to make sure I don't get any blood, and inject my saline. There we go. Now I'm going to give him an oral dose. Here we go. There's just a little bit of water. Hey, buddy. Oh, it's okay. There we go. You got that. And then the final thing we're going to do is we're going to perform a blood draw. My alcohol is just...
Whitney's on line 1 for someone in the back. Whitney's on line 1 for someone in the back.
So I'm going to draw some, just a tiny little bit of blood from his lateral tail vein. So I'm going to spray that with some alcohol. It's okay, baby. Okay, let's see. All right, buddy, ready? You're okay.
Thanks, Princess.
Come on, buddy.
Nikki, her chin is covered.
Okay.
Well, I know she has,
Oh, it's okay, buddy. And then if you look at my syringe, you can see that I got some blood in there.
like cystic.
I never have noticed
See if that's...
it in like holding her.
Okay, buddy.
It always
Here we go. We got some blood in there. All right. And that is our treatment on a rat. Okay, so this is Bunny. She is a rabbit. Rabbits are generally very docile, but they can be pretty nervous and they startle pretty easily. So rabbits have chin, inguinal, and anal glands, which are used for territorial marking. Rabbits can be litter box trained, and they produce 2 different types of stool. So the first is during the daytime. They produce firm, dry pellets. And then at night, they produce a moist, soft, nutrient-rich fecal sample. They are herbivores, and they will gladly eat just a commercial pellet food. For maintenance diets, adult rabbits should get 12% protein and 10% crude fiber for their diets. A medium-sized adult rabbit should get 5% grams of feed per 100 grams of body weight per day, and that's the total amount. Ideally, you want to feed them once to twice daily. You do not want to feed them ad libitum, as they can become obese. Let's see, pits, which are the baby rabbits, they only nurse once a day for the first 4 to 6 weeks of their lives before they switch over to adult food. So rabbits will not eat if they do not have water readily available. And the average water consumption for a rabbit is 50 to 150 milliliters per kilogram per day, which is a pretty significant amount of water for such a little guy. They will take water out of little water bottles you can attach to their cages. They will also take water from automated watering feeding systems. A lot of times people have multiple rabbits, which is to go that route. So enrichment items: balls, metal or plastic chains, nylabones, little huts they can push around their cage are all examples of enrichment items that they can have in their cage. You can also give them some fresh vegetables on the occasion. You don't want to give them all the time, but it's a nice little treat, and it's also an enrichment item for them as well. It can cure a little bit of boredom. Let's see, so rabbits are generally housed in front opening cages or huts, generally made of plastic or stainless steel. You want to make sure you have some type of flooring in there, some bedding in their floor. So some wood pellets, some wood chips, paper products, straw, something like that. You do ideally want to clean their cage daily. You want to keep your females together as long as they've, for the most part, they do pretty well together as long as they've been together before they were weaned from their mothers. Females will tend to pick fights with males if they're together for too long, and intact males will fight. So you make sure that you need to keep them separate. So handling and restraint, as well as animal recognition. So we know that this is a rabbit because she does have these long ears with the prominent bristles. We have a short tail, and we have very fine, soft fur. Rabbits generally range between 2.2 and 19.8 pounds. And when you're handling a rabbit, you need to handle them firmly, yet with as much gentle care as you can. They are very sensitive animals. So to lift, you're going to go ahead and you're going to scruff the rabbit with your dominant hand. It's okay, baby. And then you're going to support the bottom half with your opposite hand. And then to carry, you're going to place them in your arm with their head in your crook. You're going to keep your other hand on top with a nice little scruff. You can add a little bit of firm support just so that they don't struggle and try and wiggle free. Again, you're not using too much pressure. Let's see. So I call that the football hold. You can also wrap your rabbit. Hi, it's okay, Bunny. Her name is Bunny, that's why I keep calling her that. You can also wrap your rabbit in a little towel if you need to help your doctor. It's okay, Bunny. You can also wrap your rabbit in a towel in order to help the doctor with their physical exam. Let's see. So another technique for restraining a rabbit is hypnosis. So this means you're going to cover their eyes and gently roll them onto their back. And this technique is good for if you need to trim their teeth or trim their nails. It's also good for any sort of abdominal exam if they have a rash or something. And we're going to go ahead and do that now. Hi, baby. It's okay. Let me cover your eyes. We're going to go ahead and do that now to look and try to sex her. It's okay, baby. I know. All right. So we've got her. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Get her on the towel. Hi, baby. It's okay. And if you rub their stomach cranially to caudally, that tends to, it has a calming effect on them, so that'll help. And if you'll come over here, Michelle, we're going to go ahead and sex her. So to sex a rabbit, you're going to gently pull back on their skin to reveal, and it looks like she has a little slit right there, so that means she is a girl. That's the opening to her vaginal wall. And so if she were a male, when you pull back on the skin, you would see a penis, and you may or may not be able to feel the testicles. It just depends on the individual. Let's see. The restrainer must always use caution when handling a rabbit, just because they are extremely sensitive creatures. We want to make sure that no rabbit is improperly restrained because it could cause serious injury to that rabbit. Let's see, so a mature female rabbit is called a doe. A mature male rabbit is called a buck, and the juvenile young rabbits are called kits. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and administer a sub-Q injection. So Jamie, if you would just put some hands on the bunny for me. Alright, so I just have 0.5 ml of saline pulled up into a syringe. I'm going to go ahead and around the shoulder blades, I'm going to pull up a little bit of skin to make a little tent. I'm going to inject my needle. Be sure not to go too far because bunnies do have very thin skin. I'm going to pull back to make sure I don't get any sort of blood in my needle. And I'm going to inject the saline. There we go. Good job, Bunny. You're a good girl. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and pull a blood sample from Bunny. So let me grab my alcohol. It has disappeared 1 second. Okay, perfect. So we're going to pull it from her ear. So I'm going to go ahead. And I'm going to sterilize the area. Squeeze her ear right down here. Can you squeeze her ear down here?
Space is on line 1 for anyone
There
in
we
the
go.
back.
We're going to sterilize the area.
Space is on line 1 for anyone in the back.
Alright, Bunny, be a brave girl. Alright, baby, ready? Be a brave girl. I'm going to pull back. Oh, Bunny. Oh, I got some blood in my syringe. You can see it there. Alright, and that is how you obtain a blood sample from. This is Gertrude. She's one of our chickens here at Mechanicsville Animal Hospital. We know that she is a bird because she has a beak, she has feathers, and she has wings. So when you're restraining a bird, it depends on what type of bird they are and what their defense mechanisms are.
And so say you have a raptor, their defense mechanism is their talons. So you want to make sure you restrain their feet really well. For parrots, their form of weaponry is their beak, so you want to make sure you restrain their head really well. And for chickens, their defense mechanism is their wings. They're going to flap them a whole lot, so you want to make sure you restrain their wings really well. You want to make sure you keep them in a nice, natural folded position against their body. And you want to make sure you don't put too much pressure on that keel, because unlike us, they don't have a diaphragm, and so you want to make sure that you allow them to breathe easily and breathe properly. You want to make sure you don't bend their wings back, because it's very easy. Hold on, baby girl. Hold on. I know. It's okay. It's very easy. It's okay, mama. To luxate their patellas, it's very easy to luxate their shoulders and their elbows. So you want to make sure you're just really gentle about that, not bending them backwards. Let's see. So when you're picking up a bird, you may want to use a towel. Just because coming at them with your bare hands for capture can really startle them. So sometimes a towel makes that a little bit easier for them. So to carry a chicken, you can just pick them up with their wings firmly against their body and tuck them in the crook of your arm and carry them around that way. They can face forward or backwards. So most chickens are pretty calm and they don't require much restraint. In regards to an examination, so ideally you want to examine your bird from afar before they even see you. And the reason for that is because they see us as the predators and they're the prey. And so as soon as they see you, they're going to try and make themselves look as healthy as possible. And so you want to try and watch them from afar. You're going to look at their stance to see if they hold their head up high or if they're drooping it low. If they're holding it low, they probably don't feel great. You also want to look at their eyes. You want to look at their gait, so the way that they're walking around. Do they have any sort of limp? You're going to watch their interaction with other birds if you have other birds. Are they being abnormally aggressive? Anything like that you want to make sure you're taking note of. Once you have them up close, you're going to begin your physical exam. You're going to check out their head. You're going to make sure that their eyes, their ears, and their beak are all symmetrical within their face. You're going to look for any sort of discharge or crust, any scabs, anything like that. It's okay, baby. You're also going to take notice of their feathers and see if there's any ruffling of the feathers, any missing feathers, like any sparsely placed feathers. And then you want to go ahead and get your TPR. So you want to grab a weight on every chicken. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab Gertrude's weight right now. Hey, baby. It's okay. All right, baby. All right, Gertrude, she is 4.96 pounds today. You want to grab their temperature. We're going to take it under the wing. I'm going to give Gertrude over here to Faith. Good girl. So I'm going to take her temperature real quick under her wing. You do not want to take a temperature rectally on a bird as you could rupture their cloaca. Now the wing is not as accurate as it is not the most accurate form of temperature, but that's what she's going to let us do here. So we're going to check that real quick. Good girl, Gertrude. I'm still going, pretty girl. All right, our temperature is 105.2, which is great for a chicken, for this bird. Now I'm going to go ahead and listen to her heart, and I'm going to count for 15 seconds and then multiply by 4 to get her heart rate. Hi, pretty girl. I'm going to use my little calculator. All right, 296, which is great for a chicken. And now I'm going to count her respiratory rate. I'm going to count her breaths for 15 seconds and multiply by 4. All right, 32 is our respiratory rate, so that's pretty good. Let's see. So also when you're doing their exam, you're gonna monitor their breathing. Make sure that they're not breathing too fast or too slow. You wanna look for any open mouth breathing or any straining to breathe. Birds do have 3 different types of output, and the first one is gonna be urine. And then you have a semi-solid urate, and then they also have just their normal fecal sample. And I think that is all I needed to talk about. Let's see. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and perform a nail trim on this bird. All right, so I'll come over here by Faith. Good girl. It's okay. Good girl. Okay. Come over here. Are you able to see what we're doing? Okay. Good girl. It's all right, baby. It's all right. Almost done. Good girl. All right, and that is our treatment on a bird.